Have you ever looked at something so ironic that it almost feels cruel? Outside my mom's nursing home, there's a giant American flag proudly flying over the financial services office. Red, white, and blue, waving in the breeze. Freedom, dignity, pride. And yet right underneath that flag, we're paying $475 a day just for her to exist. Not for luxury, not for extraordinary care, just to exist. Nothing says USA quite like being charged nearly $20 an hour to die slowly under fluorescent lights. But here's the real gut punch. It's not even that $475 a day is outrageous. Honestly, when you factor in round-the-clock care, medical equipment, and trained staff, that price could make sense. The real scandal is where the money actually goes. It's not to the nurses. It's not to the aides changing diapers at 2 a.m. It's not to better meals or safer facilities. It's going straight into the pockets of corporate owners, hedge funds, and private equity firms that see your parents. And one day, you, not as people, but as profit streams to be squeezed dry. Today, we're going to rip the mask off the nursing home industry. We'll talk about how seniors are forced to spend every dime they ever saved, how families are left powerless and broken, and how even the people caring for your loved ones are being crushed by the same system. Because once you know the truth, you'll realize this isn't just unfair. It's inhumane, and it's happening all around us. At first glance, $475 a day sounds brutal. But if you really break it down, $19.80 an hour for 24/7 care, it doesn't seem so unreasonable. After all, we're talking about caring for frail, vulnerable people around the clock. Skilled nurses, certified nursing assistants, CNAs, physical therapists, dietary teams, maintenance crews. It takes a village to keep a senior alive and somewhat comfortable in their final years, right? That's the illusion they sell you. What they don't tell you is that the actual people doing the hard, heartbreaking work, changing soiled bedding at 3 a.m., calming a terrified dementia patient, cleaning wounds no one else wants to look at, are making just a few dollars above minimum wage. Certified nursing assistants, the backbone of elderly care, often earn $14 to $16 an hour. Some barely scrape by with second jobs. Nurses, even with licenses and experience, are chronically understaffed and underpaid. Dietary teams, maintenance staff, janitors, they're all running on fumes, expected to do twice the work for half the pay. So where's the $475 a day actually going? Not to care. Not to safety. Not to dignity. It's flowing straight into corporate profits, into the pockets of hedge funds, private equity firms, and for-profit ownership groups who now control a growing majority of nursing homes in America. They cut staff hours to save pennies. They slash food budgets to maximize margins. They delay equipment repairs because fixing a broken lift is too expensive. Every corner they can cut, they cut. Not because the money isn't there, but because squeezing every last dollar out of each bed is the business model. And if you think I'm exaggerating, listen to those who work inside. CNAs will tell you, when an elderly resident falls because there aren't enough staff on the floor, management shrugs. When residents sit in soiled diapers for hours because there aren't enough hands to help them, leadership points to budget constraints. When meals are cheap, processed slop disguised as nutrition, they chalk it up to cost efficiency. Meanwhile, the corporate owners fly first class to board meetings, sign million-dollar bonuses, and buy up more facilities like monopoly properties, because sick, helpless people are an asset class now. The cost isn't the problem. The problem is where the cost goes. And it's not to your mom. It's not to your dad. It's not to the people working double shifts just to keep your loved ones alive another day. It's to Wall Street. And that's just the beginning. Here's the part they never explain when you first sign the paperwork. You're not just paying $475 a day out of pocket. You're expected to burn through every last dollar you've ever saved until you're basically broke, before any real help kicks in. It's called the Medicaid spend down. Sounds official, almost reasonable, right? Like some orderly process? In reality, it's a slow, cruel strip mining of everything you spent a lifetime building. Your mom's pension? Gone. Your dad's 401k? Gone. Their house? Their savings? Even that little rainy day fund they hope to pass on to their grandkids? All of it. Drained. Legally. Quietly. Relentlessly. Here's how it works. Medicaid, the government program that helps cover nursing home costs, only steps in once you're nearly penniless. Most states set the limit at around $2,000 in total assets. Not $200,000, not $20,000, $2,000. That means the system forces you to pay full price, $10,000 to $15,000 a month, until your life's work is wiped out. Only after you've been stripped clean will Medicaid pick up the tab. And even then, it's often minimal coverage, riddled with restrictions, and comes with plenty of indignities attached. To make it worse, you're not allowed to just give your money away to your family either. If you try to transfer assets within 5 years before applying for Medicaid, they call it fraud and deny your coverage until you pay it back. Imagine being punished for trying to leave a nest egg for your children. You spent 40, 50, maybe 60 years saving, investing, planning, believing that one day you could leave something behind. Instead, the final chapter of your life becomes a desperate, humiliating race to zero. And all of it, the nursing home fees, the lawyer fees, the bureaucratic gymnastics, is designed to make sure nothing is left to pass down. Because here's the dirty truth. It's not enough that they take your dignity. They want your legacy too. They want to make sure you leave this world the same way you entered it, with nothing. And your family? They get to watch helplessly as everything you worked for gets swallowed up by a system that was never designed to save you. It was designed to profit from you, right up until your very last breath. Once you understand the money game, the next piece of the puzzle becomes painfully clear. Nursing homes aren't designed around care. They're designed around profit. And profit loves cutting corners. When a hedge fund or private equity firm buys a nursing home, their mission isn't to make grandma comfortable. It's to maximize returns. How do you do that? Simple. You squeeze every penny out of the system while pretending nothing's wrong. Here's what it looks like on the inside. Instead of 3 CNAs per floor, now you get 1, running between 20, 30, sometimes even 40 residents. Instead of freshly prepared meals, you get prepackaged slop microwaved in bulk. Instead of quick responses to call lights, residents sit soaked in their own waste for hours, waiting for a staff member who's too overwhelmed to come. Cuts are everywhere you can't immediately see. Fewer qualified nurses per shift. Cheaper, low-quality bedding that causes pressure sores. Broken wheelchairs and lifts left unrepaired for months. Group therapy canceled because it's not in the budget anymore. And when accidents happen, and they do happen, the nursing homes have a playbook. Deny, delay, distract, blame staffing shortages, blame regulations, blame the family for not visiting enough. Anything to avoid admitting the obvious. They cut care to boost profits. Ask any CNA who's been on the inside. Ask the families who got the late-night call that their loved one fell out of bed and broke a hip, because no one was there to help them to the bathroom. Ask the nurses who cried in their cars after a double shift because they knew their patients deserved better, and there was nothing they could do. Every cost-saving measure comes at a human cost. Every corner cut leaves someone's mother, father, or grandparent lying awake in fear, in pain, or in loneliness. And the executives? They don't lose a minute of sleep over it. They sleep well, knowing they've squeezed another quarter of profit out of the broken bodies and fading spirits of the people they claim to care for. This isn't health care. This is extraction of dignity, of strength, of hope. And the worst part? Most families don't even realize it's happening until it's too late. Until their loved one has suffered injuries, infections, or decline that could have and should have been prevented. Because once care becomes a business, people become expendable. You might think nursing homes are still run by kindly doctors or families who care about the elderly. Maybe once upon a time. But today? Your mom's nursing home is more likely owned by a hedge fund than a healthcare provider. Over the last 2 decades, Wall Street quietly took over elder care. Private equity firms, investment groups, and corporate chains swooped in, buying up nursing homes like real estate portfolios. Not to care for the elderly, to harvest them. Here's how the scam works. They buy a struggling nursing home at a discount. They slash staffing, cut maintenance, and squeeze every possible cost to make the books look good. On paper, it's more efficient. In reality, it's life-threatening. Meanwhile, the ownership structures are layered and complicated on purpose. One company owns the building. Another leases the operation. A third company provides management services. A fourth owns the medical equipment. And guess what? All of them bill the nursing home separately, sucking cash out of it from every direction. If lawsuits happen because of neglect or abuse, good luck. These companies are legally separated, making it nearly impossible to hold anyone accountable. Families sue, win settlements, and then discover there's no real money left to collect. The profits have already been extracted. The shell is empty. Who suffers? The residents, abandoned in understaffed, crumbling facilities. The families, crushed under impossible choices. The staff, burned out and powerless. And the investors? They're off buying vacation homes, yachts, and another set of nursing homes to strip mine. Because in their spreadsheets, your mother isn't a person. She's an occupancy unit. Your father isn't someone who fought in wars or raised a family. He's a monthly revenue stream. The data is chilling. Nursing homes owned by private equity firms have significantly higher mortality rates, more health code violations, and worse outcomes than nonprofit or public homes. But Wall Street doesn't care about data unless it's profit margins. So the next time you see a slick brochure promising luxury elder care, remember, behind that smiling stock photo of happy seniors is a boardroom full of suits calculating exactly how much pain, neglect, and loss they can get away with before anyone notices. This isn't just mismanagement. This is systemic exploitation, disguised as health care. If you think the $475 a day you're paying is making its way to the people actually caring for your mom, you're wrong. Brutally, heartbreakingly wrong. The certified nursing assistants, CNAs, the nurses, the dietary workers, the cleaning crews, the people who are in the trenches every day, hands-on with your loved ones, are being squeezed just as hard as the families. Maybe harder. Most CNAs make around $14,000 to $16 an hour. That's barely enough to survive, let alone live with dignity. They are expected to change diapers, reposition immobile patients, bathe, dress, feed, and emotionally support dozens of residents per shift, often with no backup. The work is physically exhausting and emotionally brutal. Imagine running non-stop for 12 hours, lifting fragile bodies, dodging infections, calming screaming dementia patients, and knowing you'll be back tomorrow to do it all over again, short-staffed and unthanked. And the worst part? It's not because these workers don't care. It's because the system doesn't care about them. Management expects them to do more with less. Fewer hands, heavier caseloads, impossible expectations. One CNA for 30 or even 40 residents isn't just unsafe, it's inhumane. When a resident falls and no one comes fast enough, it's not because staff didn't care. It's because they physically couldn't be everywhere at once. When someone sits in their own waste for hours, crying for help, it's not because CNAs are lazy. It's because they're running from room to room, desperately trying to hold a system together that's already collapsed. Meanwhile, corporate executives pocket millions. Meanwhile, glossy brochures brag about five-star care. Ask any nurse, any aide, any kitchen worker what it's really like. They'll tell you about crying in their cars after shifts. They'll tell you about missing their own family moments because they stayed late to cover short shifts. They'll tell you about begging management for more help and being told there's no budget for it. The burnout is staggering. Turnover rates are sky high. Good. Caring staff leave because they physically, mentally, and emotionally can't take it anymore. And who suffers the most? The residents. The people who needed real human care the most. Because when you underpay, overwork, and ignore the people who are supposed to provide dignity at the end of life, you strip that dignity away from everyone. By the time families realize what's happening, it's already too late. The money's gone. The choices are gone. And the person they love? They're trapped in a system that sees them as little more than a billing code. It starts with good intentions. We want mom to have the best care, you tell yourself. We want dad to be safe, you say. You walk into a nursing home with hope. You sign the contracts with trust. And then, piece by piece, everything unravels. First, the savings disappear, faster than you thought possible. You dip into your own bank account to cover extra services that somehow weren't included. You sell off a car, then jewelry, then the family home. You tell yourself it's temporary, it's necessary, it's love. Meanwhile, the care deteriorates. Missed medications, unexplained bruises. A growing sense that no one is really watching, no one is really accountable. You file complaints. You make calls. You meet with administrators who nod sympathetically and promise improvements. And nothing changes. You realize that no matter how much you pay, no matter how much you advocate, you are powerless inside this machine. And your loved one? They lose more than their money. They lose their autonomy. They lose their pride. They lose their identity. They become Room 203, a chart on a clipboard, a body in a bed waiting for the next shift change. The system doesn't just bankrupt seniors financially, it bankrupts them emotionally. It strips away the very things that made their lives meaningful, their choices, their independence, their dignity. And when the end finally comes, what's left? No estate to pass on. No family home to visit. Just heartbreak, regret, and an empty chair at the holiday table. This isn't just about money. It's about what it means to grow old in a society that values profits over people. And unless we start demanding better systems, better protections, better care, this slow, silent robbery will continue. One family, one legacy, one forgotten elder at a time. By now, you can see it clearly. The nursing home industry isn't broken by accident. It's working exactly as it was designed, to drain seniors dry, crush families under impossible choices, and discard the very people it claims to care for. The hidden costs, the forced poverty, the profiteering corporations, the underpaid, overworked caregivers, the stolen dignity. This is not the future our parents deserved, and it sure as hell isn't the future we deserve either. But here's the truth they don't want you to remember. We are not powerless. The more we expose this system, the louder we speak, the more we demand real change, the harder it becomes for them to hide. We can fight for public subsidies that actually protect families. We can push for regulations that punish greed and prioritize care. We can support the workers who are trying every day to deliver dignity with empty hands. Because aging shouldn't be a slow financial death. It should be a continuation of life, respected, supported, and cherished until the very end. The system won't fix itself. We have to force it to. Thanks so much for being here with us today. We'd really love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell us one thing you took away from this video and how you're planning to use it in your life. Your thoughts truly matter to us, and reading your comments gives us the energy to keep going. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone who might need it.